Hi, Ed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, December the 2nd, 2020, uh, call the Martinville Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting to order at 7:31. Uh, We'll go into closed session to consult with the town attorney. Uh, Yeah, that
I turned into an IT tech overnight.
I think this is pretty impressive, actually.
My gate won't open. Can you close it?
I don't know that it extends that far. Ed, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, at 7:43, we'll close the executive session and go back to open session. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance. Flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public participation, there is no one in the audience, so I assume there's no one that wants to speak to an item other than the item on the agenda. Discuss and consider approval of the November 4th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Okay, second. Second. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, we will now continue public hearing to consider recommendation to the town council regarding ordinance amending the town of Bartonville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Exhibit A, Article 14.02, Ordinance 361.05, zoning regulations, change the zoning designation of Kincaid Lot 2R, Block A, approximately 10.9 acres, agricultural district, ag, to public, semi-public. The tract of land is located at 2200 East Jeter Road, Bartonville, Texas. The Planning and Zoning Commission moved to postpone this item to December 2nd, 2020 by a vote of 5-0 at its November 4th, 2020 meeting. Applicant presentation, there is no applicant present. Staff presentation, is there anything?
Thank you. I'll just give a quick summary. A request was received for a zoning change from agriculture to public semi-public to allow for the placement of the monopole. Agriculture is treated as a residential zoning district, and public semi-public is treated as a non-residential zoning district. In summary, the antennas and monopole towers are not allowed in residential. They can be allowed in non-residential.
Okay, those want to speak in favor? There's no one here. Was there anybody that said anything in favor?
In favor, no. There were some comments that were provided opposed.
Those opposed, I have a list here. The town of Bartonville received 14 comments of opposition for the proposal for the proposed cell tower from the following. Do I need to read each of these, or can we?
Yes, you don't have to read the comments, but the names and addresses.
Okay, Richard and Laura Smith at 185 Coyote Court, Bartonville, Texas. Mark and Melissa Faulkner at 304 Wolf Run Road, Bartonville, Texas. Jim and Clara Huhak at 203 Wolf Road, Bartonville, Texas. Kenneth Derrick and Lori Longway at 190 Wolf Run, Bartonville, Texas. Tina Bennett at 422 Wolf Road, Bartonville, Texas. Rick and Celia Workman, 537 Wolf Run Road, Bartonville, Texas. Gaylord and Betsy King, 354 Wolf Road, Bartonville, Texas. Peyton Hurst at 180 Coyote Court, Martinville, Texas. Mr. and Mrs. Latchflower, 428 Wolf Run Road, Martinville, Texas. Frank Scalaro at 195 Coyote Court, Martinville, Texas. Evelyn Taryn Marino, David Marino, 215 Coyote Court, Martinville, Texas. Ryan and Daniel Reeve, 504 Wolf Run Road, Martinville, Texas. Leah and Dave Kovner, 200 Coyote Court, Martinville, Texas. Carlos A. Santana at 258 Wolf Run, Martinville, Texas. And below are the comments, and
The rest of the packet is their actual comments, which you don't have to read if you don't want to.
so we have comments that these people made that were not in favor. We will put those into public record,
Correct.
but I won't read. Rebuttal. No one here to make a rebuttal. So we'll close the public hearing to public comments at 7:49. Okay. Discussion.
I'm doing some homework. So I made a list of things that I ran across regarding this property and that tower. One, the size of the property itself is really not that large for a pole in the case of any kind of issues that might happen. Fire, vandalism, the proximity to neighboring lands is residential. So I think all of those have to come into our decision-making process. That proximity to the neighboring lands, both the south property and the west property are residential, which is a bigger deal than if it was commercial all the way around it. The visual impact isn't just for the neighbors who live in Wolf Run either. That is visual impact for the entire community of Bartonville because it's so tall. Not only from homes along Macon and Landfall and around there, but just driving around town or being out on 407, that is definitely a negative visual impact, especially when it is the entrance part of that. Even our horses, which really was supposed to be the entrance, most people don't go that way. They come in this way. So I think that has to come into play. Then I did some safety concern research that has to do with tornadoes. And believe it or not, 2 already this year have been destroyed by tornadoes. And I found one last year. And when I got to reading about it, I mean, they don't even just stay in place. So again, we have residences around, which I think has to, and we have a church with children going to school in it, which is another health, safety, and welfare issue for the existing residences and future ones that would be on that RE2 land to the south of that property. It's a moot point now about the setbacks not being met, so I'll leave that part out. And the final thing is that tower is permanent. It isn't just going to be there for a while. Once it's put in there, they're extremely expensive from my research to ever get rid of them. So, I mean, it just isn't, and why would they? So what we decide is a big deal. And finally, I didn't have any idea, but I cut and pasted this, 5/16 of 2020. Since December 2019, unidentified actors conducted at least 5 arson incidents targeting cell towers in Memphis, Tennessee. That resulted in more than $100,000 damage. Additionally, 14 cell towers in western Tennessee were purposely turned off and disabling them. And in April, arsonists set fire to a major cell tower in Portland, damaging components, and et cetera, et cetera. While it's a moot point as far as is somebody going to come try to burn down a pole, I don't know, but they are a target of anarchy type procedure. And again, do we want that on a piece of property that close to us? So that's my 2 cents.
I found in particular Kenneth and Lori Longway's comments about lightning attraction with towers being a big concern. And I agree with the Longways that having a tower that tall with a lightning rod could attract more lightning than would occur without it, and that may make problems for the
So no, when we got to the point about the visual nuisance and it not being compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods, that formed my opinion alone. I mean, all the other stuff is all very, it's all very relevant. It adds on to it, but I don't think it's a good fit for you. I don't think we need it.
I agree. I didn't want it. I live very close, so yeah.
In that case, I move to deny the request to rezone that property from ag to public, semi-public for the following reasons. It is not compatible, nor does, or let me back up. It is for the neighborhood and the city of Bartonville. It is not compatible. It does not add anything to the integrity of the town. It is a visual nuisance. There are safety and health issues for the residents that are around it, or could be if there was fire or a tornado on those adjacent properties. We were told that this evening the variance for that property to move that tower within required setbacks was denied. Because it's denied, again, it doesn't meet our zoning ordinances, and it does nothing. There's nothing that we have been told about that minimizes any kind of adverse effects to the properties that are surrounding. Therefore, I recommend that we recommend denial.
Second. Second. Favor? Continue public hearing to consider recommendation to the town council regarding an ordinance amending the town of Martinsville Code of Ordinances, chapter 14, exhibit A, article 14.02, ordinance 361.05, zoning regulations, by amending chapter 5, article 5.2, uses permitted, town of Martinsville by granting a conditional use permit to allow for a 130-foot monopole tower, 9-foot lightning rod, associated equipment, then a 65 by 65 fenced evergreen screen compound located at 2200 East Jeter Road, Bartonville, Texas. The property to be considered for the conditional use permit is the same property for which the zoning change from agricultural ag to public, semi-public is being requested. Planning and Zoning Commission moved to postpone this item to December 2nd, 2020 by a vote 5-0 at its November 4th, 2020 meeting. Applicant presentation, there is no applicant present. Do you have anything else to add?
I can say a small summary if you'd like. I'll just share a small summary. The applicant requested a conditional use permit for the placement of the monopole tower, the same tower that is contingent on the zoning from ag to public semi-public. The maximum height listed in the development standards for public semi-public is 25 feet. The proposed monopole tower is 130 feet. Therefore, it would need a conditional use permit.
It basically, because we doesn't have zoning, required zoning, and it didn't get a variance. Is that enough to add?
Mr. Chairman, I still would recommend going through the request for the speakers in favor or opposed, and then close the.
Feature.
So Ed is saying to still go through the motions of those in favor, those opposed.
Oh, okay. Applicant. Those in favor, there's no one here to speak in favor. Those opposed, do I need to read through the lists again?
No, you don't need to redo that. Just reference it. It's the same list that you read before.
Reference the list of homeowners and their comments. Needs to be put into the public record, but the list was put in at when we discussed the zoning. There's one here for rebuttal, so the full public hearing at 8:00. I think you need to make a motion.
I move that we deny or we recommend denial of granting a conditional use permit on this property. It is not compatible or improves the integrity of the surrounding properties. It is a visual nuisance. The health and safety of the people on the surrounding areas is in question. It did not receive the necessary variance needed for zoning requirements. It is at this point recommended that zoning remain ag, which also makes it incompatible with the CUP. Therefore, I recommend that we recommend denial to town council.
Second.
Second.
Favor? Continue public hearing to consider recommendation for the town council regarding site plan for Hemphill LLC being all of the tract of land being described as Kincaid Lot 2R, Block A, Town of Bartonville, Denton County, Texas. Property is generally described as a 10.9 acre tract of land located on the south side of East Judah Road, more commonly known as 2200 East Judah Road, Bartonville, Texas. Planning and Zoning Commission moved to postpone this item to December 2nd, 2020 by a vote of 5-0 at its November 4th, 2020 meeting. Applicant is not present. Staff, did you put anything else in?
No, sir.
Okay. Those in favor? No one here to speak in favor. Those opposed? Again, I referenced the list of 14 homeowners and comments that need to be added to public record. And is there any discussion? So we'll close the public hearing at 8:02. Discussion at all? And motion.
I move that, I'm recommending to the town council denial of the site plan for Hemphill LLC for the following reasons. The site plan is not compatible with the surrounding properties. It would produce a visual nuisance. It is not conducive for the health and safety of the surrounding property residents, and it did not receive the necessary variance for the rezoning requirements. It has been recommended denial for the CUP, and so therefore I recommend denial of the site plan. Or I move that we recommend denial.
The second.
Second.
And second. Favor. Thank you, Ed.
Good seeing y'all. Hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving, and if I don't see you, have a happy and Merry Christmas too.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you.